And finally, new rules. Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry.
Bill Maher just dropped the most insane mic drop moment on The View. He's been going toe-to-toe with the show for years, but this time, he's not holding back. When Maher steps into the ring, you can bet your last dollar that he's ready to make some serious waves. And this week, well, he did exactly that. It all went down live, in front of millions of viewers, and trust me, things got heated.
And so you can't really defend that on the other side very easily.
But before we go, I want to say...
No, we're not going anywhere yet.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing, as we were talking in the break.
Yeah.
It was like a scene out of a Hollywood drama when Bill Maher walked into The View and turned the heat up. The hosts were visibly uncomfortable, with Whoopi Goldberg at the center of the storm. And what's the cause of this latest eruption? Bill wasn't holding back, delivering an unfiltered take that left the hosts stunned, speechless, and scrambling for cover.
I talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that.
You could feel the tension in the air, and it wasn't just because of the raw opinions Bill was dropping. This wasn't just about political debate. It was about power. Bill Maher, the unapologetic comedian, was calling out the mainstream media and those who tried to dictate what opinions were acceptable. And Whoopi Goldberg, sitting right there on stage, was caught in the crossfire.
Part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person.
This showdown wasn't just about a couple of hot takes. It's part of a larger battle over what can and can't be said on live TV. And in this battle, Bill Maher wasn't about to back down. What happened on that stage wasn't just a debate, it was a full-on takedown. The controversy began with a comment that sent shockwaves through the set. Bill Maher made a direct dig at Whoopi, claiming that her recent trouble on The View was nothing more than karma catching up with her. Whoopi, of course, was not amused. But what Bill was doing wasn't just about throwing shade. It was about calling out the hypocrisy he sees in mainstream liberal views, especially those paraded on shows like The View.
Collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals.
He was flooded with texts, people warning him to hold back, but he wasn't having it. Maher went straight for the jugular, pointing out how Whoopi's recent trouble was a perfect example of cosmic justice. "It's karma," he said, smirking. "Don't attack me one week, only to get pulled from the show the next." And boy, did the atmosphere shift when he dropped that bombshell. The rest of the co-hosts looked like they'd just seen a ghost.
You know, and doing that. So bad players show up and make stuff happen, but do you find that the view that we're being shown seems to be meant to guide us?
And that's when Maher really started to make his point. He didn't just sit back and let the moment fizzle out. No, he doubled down, turning the entire thing into a larger commentary about life's randomness and how we're all just players in a game of fate. The audience went wild. Some were clapping, some were gasping, but no one was indifferent. That's the power of Maher. When he speaks, people listen, even if they're not always on his side.
You think it's hard being a black man in a white man's world? Try being a white woman who feels bad about you being a black man in a white man's world.
But hold up, this wasn't just a personal spat. Bill Maher was in full-on debate mode, and this was going to be one for the history books. The talk quickly shifted to politics. With The View being a liberal-leaning show, the hosts started digging into Maher's thoughts on Donald Trump's promises, specifically how Trump planned to deport 12 million immigrants. You could feel the pressure building as the questions started flying, but Maher wasn't backing down. He threw a joke in there about how Trump had left so many holes in the wall, and honestly, you could hear the laughter echoing across the set.
The change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
Bill's delivery was perfect. He wasn't just mocking Trump, he was mocking everyone who refused to even entertain the idea that the former president could actually deliver on his promises. The hosts on The View were visibly uncomfortable, with one of them even trying to interrupt his flow, but Bill Maher had already set the tone. He wasn't just trying to win this argument, he was trying to make a point that no one else on TV was making.
The fact that his bond... Hold on. Sir.
What's
I have to stop you with the camera, because I can see you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again.
The way the crowd responded, they were clearly vibing with Maher. Sure, he's controversial, but his points hit where it matters. Truth, accountability, and the refusal to back down. Some of the most conservative viewers were behind him, appreciating his boldness. And it was clear that this wasn't just an average political debate. It was a full-on takedown of the media's narrative.
Like America is, we're mixed. We're a mixed bunch. And sometimes it may seem like there's more Democrats and sometimes it seems like there's more Republicans. But the truth of the matter is, very few people seem to bite it because they're Republican.
Now, we're diving into the good stuff. Bill wasn't just here to roast The View for its biased takes. He had something bigger in mind. Maher turned the conversation to free speech, calling out the hypocrisy of mainstream liberal views on what's considered acceptable discourse. This isn't just about his thoughts on Trump or immigration. It's about the very concept of free speech and how left-leaning networks have increasingly shut down dissenting opinions.
It's kind of a cancer on progressivism. I've been saying this for years, that first of all, you have to stand up to Twitter. Twitter isn't us. Twitter isn't the rank and file Democrat. It's not even most liberals.
Here's where things got real. Bill Maher defended Whoopi's right to have her controversial opinions, even when he disagreed with them. The thing is, Maher argued that she shouldn't be punished for her views just because they don't fit the current, correct narrative. He pointed out how The View was supposed to be a place where multiple viewpoints could be aired, but that's not what was happening. The hosts, especially Whoopi, were sitting there, representing only one side of the conversation. And when they pushed back on Maher's points, it wasn't just a debate. It was an attempt to silence him.
But life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Now, Maher wasn't saying that Whoopi should get a timeout or be fired, as some of the more extreme left-wingers would suggest. What he was saying was that it's insulting to treat someone like her, who has decades of experience, like a child in need of a timeout. He made it clear that the left's current approach to free speech wasn't healthy for anyone, and it certainly wasn't healthy for discourse.
Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you?
You shouldn't be silencing anyone just because their opinions don't line up with yours, Maher stated, and it hit hard. The room fell silent. The tone of the show shifted. For the first time in ages, The View's regular routine was broken. People were forced to think about something bigger than just the headlines.
I think the Democrats blew it, as they always do with this kind of stuff, because they've had 4 years. What was all the delay about? Why are we coming to the end? Of course they're going to try to run out the clock.
And it doesn't stop there. Bill Maher called out the left for their hypocrisy, and it's something a lot of people have been too afraid to say. He pointed out how, for all the talk of tolerance and inclusion, there's a clear double standard when it comes to conservative views. He asked a chilling question. What if one of those cast members of Saturday Night Live supported Trump? Would they have felt comfortable saying so? He went on to make a powerful argument. In Hollywood and on TV, if you don't toe the line, you're ostracized.
From woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So
this is a direct shot at shows like SNL, where the left-leaning agenda reigns supreme. Maher was essentially pointing out that, while conservative voices are silenced, those on the left are free to speak their minds, no matter how ridiculous their arguments might sound. He wasn't just calling out the hypocrisy. He was exposing the entire media ecosystem for what it was, a tightly controlled, one-sided narrative that pushes people into corners if they dare to speak against it.
This is not something we're doing because it's, sexually gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody.
Let's talk about the fallout. After that live TV meltdown, there's no way Whoopi Goldberg and the other hosts weren't feeling the pressure. Maher had completely flipped the script. His points were hard to ignore, and they were making The View look more and more out of touch with the public's real concerns. The problem with The View wasn't just their politics, it was that they weren't even willing to entertain the possibility that they might be wrong. And that's where Bill Maher won this battle.
But I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn the job.
And while the rest of the media scrambled to downplay Maher's points, it's clear that the conversation is shifting. Maher has always been the guy to challenge the status quo, and once again, he did what no one else had the guts to do. He made the public question everything they thought they knew about the media, politics, and free speech.
Ridiculous, but it's a war. It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
So what does this mean for Whoopi Goldberg and The View? It's not looking too good. The show's always been known for pushing liberal views, but this latest spat with Bill Maher could be the start of something bigger. It's about more than just one disagreement. It's about the future of political discourse on television.
Voters keep saying over and over again, we are not comfortable with this level of immigration. I understand why. It doesn't make you a racist to say that.
Will Bill Maher continue to break down barriers, or is this the last we'll see of his unfiltered commentary on The View? Only time will tell. Now it's your turn. What do you think of Bill Maher's epic showdown with Whoopi Goldberg and The View? Is he right to call out the hypocrisy, or is he just stoking the flames of division? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Celeb Titbits for more of this wild ride. You won't want to miss what's coming next.